Hi, welcome to this episode of Sports Bets for Free. My name is Scott Jenkins, your host, just a local sports bettor here in Phoenix, Arizona. And hopefully today with our picks and your picks, it's going to be another profitable day for you. January 21st, Sunday the 21st, we've got one college game that's coming up here pretty soon. Then we'll get into the NBA slate. There's about 5 games today. Do make sure you check out the Google Sheets at the end of the show. This will give you a ledger of all of our bets, what juice we got them at, also how many units and what book we placed them at, and then also the result. We will be adding a few bets, I'm sure, this NBA slate, as there was some games that didn't have player props available. So make sure you do reflect back or check back with that Google sheet if you want to check and see all of our bets as we get closer to game time. So first game, we'll get the college game going here. So Tulane, Memphis at Tulane. Tulane's going to be a 3.5-point dog. We're going to take Tulane today. Memphis been struggling a little bit on the road. They're dominant at home. They're a good ball club. Tulane's pretty solid, and they're pesky. So we'll take Tulane here, plus 1.5 first half, plus 3.5 for the game. So one more time, Tulane plus 1.5 first half, plus 3.5 for the game. Then we'll get into the NBA slate. Early game for the Clippers especially, right? So Clippers going against the Nets. The Nets continue on this West Coast swing. They've been getting their brains beat in for most of it, except for beating the Lakers in the last game. But Clippers a little bit different story. The Lakers have just been, they just can't seem to get it rolling. It's like AD seems to play well, but I don't know, they can't get the rest of the program with it. So, but the Clippers a different story. Started off slow with James Harden, really turned it up. Looked like one of the better teams in the West. To be honest with you, as long as Kawhi and Paul George stay healthy, they got a great shot here. So Clippers are about 10.5, 11-point favorite, depending on what book you're looking at. Total around 225. We're stick with the Clippers on this one. Minus 3.5 first quarter, minus 6.5 first half, minus 10.5 for the game. We also like Kawhi. He's got a height advantage almost over everybody on that team except for Claxton. So Kawhi Leonard over 24.5 points, over 2.5 threes, over 34.5 par. Then we're going back to the well on James Harden over 2.5 turnovers. That cashes almost every damn time. And then the Clippers over 119.5 team total. I will say this. The Clippers are probably easy to bet as a team or team-related things. The problem is deciding which player is going to get hot for the night. Whether it's Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, James Harden. Bad problem to have, I'm sure, but sometimes it's harder to hit those player props. We just think he can get to probably anywhere he wants to on the floor. We don't see Miles Bridges is a good defender, but I don't know if he's going to be on Kawhi as much. I think Kawhi can move around and shoot some threes today. We think he'll get home. Paul George was hot the last game, so normally it seems to go every other game or every third game or stuff like that. So we will take Kawhi tonight. So we'll go through it again. Clippers minus 3.5 first quarter, minus 6.5 first half, minus 10.5 for the game. Kawhi over 24.5 points, over 2.5 threes, over 34.5 par. Harden over 2.5 turnovers, and the Clippers over 119.5 team total. A little bit of plus money. I know you can get 118.5 out there. I figure they're probably just going to put up 120 plus, so might as well take the plus money to go with it. Next game up, we're going to be on Nuggets Wizards. Nuggets just played a tough game in Boston. Actually won in Boston for the first time this year. The Celtics lose at home. Wizards coming off of whatever the Wizards do, which is a bunch of craziness most of the time. So let's see. Nuggets 13.5-point road favorite. They're one of the best under teams in the league. The Wizards have been... they get hot for a couple games, but this is a team that can score 40 points in a quarter and the next quarter come out and score 18. So, therefore, we're going to stick with the under in this matchup. We just think that 238.5 is a little bit much on there. So, we're going to play Nuggets Wizards under 60.5 first quarter, as the Nuggets don't like to run as much, right? They have a little bit of pace and they play a little faster at home, but on the road, they seem to go a little bit steadier pace, maybe not balls to the walls like you need to get some of these over. So Nuggets Wizards under 60.5 first quarter, under 122.5 first half, under 238.5 for the game. Also under 126.5 team total. And then Jokic over 3.5 turnovers, and Porter under 2.5 threes. Both of those are plus money. Porter, not as good a shooter on the road. And to be really honest, if they get a huge lead, Porter's going to be sitting a bunch anyway, as well as Jokic. So if they can hold the Wizards down, this should be pretty easy play on that one there. But we'll give it to you one more time in this Nuggets-Wizards matchup. Nuggets-Wizards under 60.5 total first quarter, under 122 first half, under 238.5 for the game. Nuggets under 126.5 team total. Jokic over 3.5 turnovers. Porter under 2.5 three-pointers made. Next game up, Heat Magic in Orlando. Orlando, 1 point home dog. Around 215 total. This is the lightest total really on the board today. And we're still going under this. The Magic can't seem to crack 100, let alone going against a better defense like the Heat. Ever since Franz Wagner's been out, they've been struggling big time. Banchero's, who was putting up high 20s when Wagner was there, now can't seem to crack that point. In fact, his point total is down to 24.5 today, and we're still going under until he proves it. I mean, you just keep riding this thing out. Normally it goes in, streaks this way. And, Wagner comes back, he'll probably be averaging 30 points a game. But Wagner really seems to get that offense, that motion going. With Banchero there, they can just focus on him, double team him, and he doesn't seem to score as much, and the guys aren't really helping him out when he's dishing the ball. So we'll take Heat Magic under 54.5 first quarter, under 110 first half, under 215 for the game. Banchero under 24.5 points and under 35.5 par, and over 2.5 turnovers. We're going to stay away from the Heat props. They've been a little crazy as of late. Since Jimmy Butler came back into the lineup, it's been a little different on the point distribution and then also par. So we'll stay away from that side on that one. But Heat Magic, we'll go through it one more time. Under 54.5 first quarter, under 110 first half, under 215 for the game. Banchero under 24.5 points, under 35.5 par, and over 2.5 turnovers. Next game up, Celtics at the Rockets. Celtics an 11.5 point favorite, depending on where you find it. 227 total. Rockets just played a home game last night, coming off a back-to-back and an overtime win where they beat the Jazz by 1. Pretty stressful game, I think. A lot of dudes played a lot of minutes. Therefore, there's not a shit ton of player props out. No surprise there. I think the Celtics a little pissed off after losing to the Nuggets at home, ruining their perfect streak at home. Might come out and just try to put the hammer down on the Rockets. And the Celtics are the best team in the league when they're cooking. It's like watching the Warriors offense a few years, back in their heyday, except with more threes. They make more threes. They're the best 3-point shooting team basically in the league. When they distribute the ball like they can, Tatum or Brown driving the middle. Porzingis gets some easy dunks, and he's out at the 3-point line. Drew Holiday, he can drive in, get those boys some shots as well. When they're making threes, they're impossible to beat. When they're not making threes, you got a great shot at getting them. I don't think the Rockets are going to be able to hold them the way that the Nuggets did on there, but should be an interesting game though, because the Rockets are normally pretty good at home. They have a great home record, but the Celtics, I think, I just got this feeling they're a little pissed off, and to try to, a 30-point win would probably feel pretty good here. And normally when they win by 15 points plus. So, more likely you're probably going to lose. They're going to lose if they don't cover the 11, the way it's kind of been going so far this season. So Celtics minus 3.5 first quarter, minus 6.5 first half, minus 11 for the game. We're going back to Jaylen Brown. He had a horrible shooting night against the Nuggets. We think he gets this turned around today. Jaylen Brown over 22.5 points, over 2.5 threes, over 31.5 par. That par number I really like, especially at 22.5 points. If you look at it, that's 9 between rebounds and assists. If he gets 25, this par number is going to get crushed. So kind of what we're looking for there. So one more time in this Celtics-Rockets game, and we'll probably be adding some things to this. It's just there's not a lot of player props out yet, especially on the Rockets side. So Celtics minus 3.5 first quarter, minus 6.5 first half, minus 11 for the game. Jaylen Brown over 22.5 points, over 2.5 threes, and over 31.5 par. And normally, I like going, if you guys watch the show, Sengun under points and par. It's normally been a pretty big play for us all season. Obviously, it didn't cash last night as he went off for 37 points. But we like the matchup here. I think the Celtics cause a lot of problems for him. Porzingis can cover him all over the place. So I'm not worried about him beating him down low. He's more of a stretch five, kind of like Porzingis is, where Porzingis got his ass whooped by Jokic just because of the strength difference. But not necessarily the case here with Sengun. So once those props come out, we will add those to the sheet, get those bets in on that one. Next game up, Suns at the Pacers. Suns come off a fantastic win in New Orleans. They beat the shit out of the Pelicans. Devin Booker went crazy for 52, had 25 in the first quarter. Didn't really play much in the fourth quarter because they were up so much and still got to 52 points. Normally when Booker gets hot, the streak stays on for a little bit. So just a FYI on this one, the Pacers, Halliburton's back, Siakam is playing. They're trying to get that figured out a little bit. But I still think they're going to put up some points, is that the Suns don't really put up much of a defensive fight. Especially, it seems like they play worse defense at home, go figure, right? So Suns are a 4.5-point favorite, right around 248. We're going over in this game. And then we'll obviously have some props, but we think there's going to be a lot of scoring. It wouldn't surprise me if it's like, 130 to 122 or something like that. But Suns Pacers over 61.5 first quarter, over 122.5 first half, over 248 for the game. Booker over 27.5 points. Like I said, when he gets hot, normally it's streaky for a few games at least. So we'll go back to Booker there. Halliburton over 12.5 assists. That's plus money on FanDuel. I know you can find it at 11.5, but it's super juicy. So I'll take the chance on one more there. Booker over 40.5 par to go with that. There's not a ton of props out on the Pacers side. One thing we will look for on the Pacers, if Miles Turner's playing, we will play probably over points and par, because when Halliburton is playing, Turner is really good normally against the number. When Halliburton's not playing, he's horrible against the number, and we normally take the under. So one more time, that Suns-Pacers matchup. Over 61.5 first quarter, over 122.5 first half, over 248 for the game. Booker over 27.5 points, Halliburton over 12.5 assists, and Booker over 40.5 par. Last game on the books is going to be Blazers-Lakers. Blazers we normally take at home plus the points. Lakers, but on the road we always bet against them. They are a horrible road team. They seem to muster something up at home in order to cover or even outright win, but they are just downright awful on the road. We got stung a couple times because obviously the spreads are big, but I just think the Lakers should be able to take care of business. And after they got embarrassed by the Nets the other night, they better come out and ready to crush somebody's soul on that one. So Lakers like 10.5, 11-point favorite, total around 227.5. Lakers minus 3.5 first quarter, minus 6 first half, minus 10.5 for the game. Anthony Davis over 26.5 points, over 43.5 par, and over 2.5 blocks. Anthony Simons over 2.5 turnovers. Those are the only two guys that I saw that had player props available. We'll add to this. Like I mentioned before, the Google Sheets at the end of every episode is a ledger of all of our bets. So we try to be transparent as we possibly can with everything. Unfortunately, though, when we put these episodes out hours and hours ahead of time, so everybody can kind of get plenty of time to match them up, not all the props are available, and we still want to play those. Like a lot of your role players, props don't get normally posted till later, till closer to game time. Well, we still like to play those. There's a lot of value sometimes in those, but we can't get them out in the video. So those Google Sheets are really important. It's just a big, long list of all of our bets. It's a ledger of all of our bets every day. What juice we got them at, how many units, and then what book we placed them at as well. And then obviously the result once the game's finished on there. So do make sure you check that out. It'll say like docs.google.spreadsheet. Just click on that link. Basketball, you'll see all the basketball bets there. If you want to look at footballs, divisional rounds going on today as well. Feel free to do that. Yesterday was not kind to us. Last week we crushed it. Kind of had a feeling that there was gonna be some backslide, so to speak, or a little retribution. It happens, right? Football is the sport that the books are the most dialed in on, period. They're going to get theirs, right? So we kind of had it opposite yesterday. We had the Texans instead of the Ravens, and we had the 49ers instead of the Packers, right? So on the numbers. So it happens. We've got a good gang of bets though for today. We love the Lions and the Chiefs. So we'll see if we can make those happen today. So make sure you check out those when you get some time. And as always, if you can subscribe and get notifications to the YouTube channel, it makes life really simple once you hit that subscribe button and then turn notifications on for YouTube. You'll get a notification to your phone or device to let you know that Sports Bets for Free has dropped a new episode with bets, and you can match them up with your bets, give you plenty of time and plenty of good amount of confidence heading to that betting app or betting window to lay down your money to make some. I do appreciate everybody's support as always, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.